Good morning, everybody. This is Virtual Window Shop. I made this video earlier, but it looks like it didn't get through. And this is what I was trying to share with you guys on our. What we did is I told you I was gonna go ahead and release the documents, and I didn't release them for several reasons. Is because I was trying to get everybody to come in, and I wanted to use this IBO report so you guys can share and be with me, but it looks like everyone wants to do their own thing. I'm okay with it, but it would have been nicer if everybody would just join forces with me. But everybody wants to fight their own fight, but I'm sharing everything we have. So here we go. So this is the IBL partners where we grouped up with, and we did this and send it to Germany. It costs a lot of money. It costs around 7,000 just to get this done. Now I could have just walked away and saved my money, but I decided no, I need to stop these people. I wish I could get my money back. Maybe I should do a GoFundMe page, or go to TikTok like they say and get money back. But um, I just want to show everyone what happened. So, like everybody else, we had a dream. We wanted to do something different. I saved all my money from the military to find other careers when I got out, and when I did, I came across to creating an app. I thought that was a ticket. I thought that was the way to go, not realizing how much scams are out there. But here we go. So the background. This is the IBO partners. They tell you basically what they are. Lease authority provided consulting services. Now they evaluate issues, design, implementation, and management of data to the virtual window shop application. That's the application I created. Okay, so now I went to see what you see here. It went to Sam Nexus because Sam Nexus released the codes that they got because they were trying to build my app, or they're trying to fix it. But there's another problem right there, because after they found the report, uh, I think Sam Nexus should have seen the issues, because we got the keys. We got the keys from Appsketier, and we sent it to Sam Nexus so they can continue building it, not knowing that it was damaged. See, I spent another 30,000 thinking that the app was that didn't have these issues. I was still continuing on my path, thinking maybe they'll fix the little issues. Maybe it wasn't anything major. Not realizing until it came back. Now Sam Nexus hasn't contacted me back. They did almost the same thing, and every time I text them or email them, they don't email me back. They just cut off. And I'm gonna be doing videos on them too soon. So um, so anyway, it tells you the dates, the project dates, and they're gonna give you what they're gonna do here, in the services. So, but I want to get to the main pages. I'm going slow so you guys can read a little bit of it. Maybe you can pause it. So it tells you here the sources they got. They're using the BRS, which I tell you right now, the BRS doesn't make no sense. They only use the BRS for their advantage. They don't use it when you have an issue. If you have an issue, they'll come and say, "Oh no, you need a signed document," but the BRS says no. And long as you sign that document, move forward. They have the right to stop working because you agree to what they're saying. So I tell you guys, don't sign nothing until that function of the app is working. So okay, so they review two code bases. The service is the backend and the review, and they examine the specification document, backend, and mobile application for these components. So they investigated the code base, proper process were followed, or there were best practices. So we're trying to see if they were doing the practices. Because when you write a code, when you're writing codes, you're supposed to write them in detail, have a format. If you don't, so that way, in case you have to go somewhere, the new developer will know what you build. So when they found all that out, they found that as presented, the applications cannot be considered deployed production quality or maintainable, they said. At best, the code presented for review could be characterized as an interactive demo as opposed to a fully functioning system if it was in a deployable state. That right there is the only thing I need to get my money back. He says they're saying that this app is not deployable, is not even characterized, as a demo. Think about it. They know that. Appsketier knows that, and they refuse. They refuse to do anything about it because they're happy they stole money from veterans, people who have lost their income because, actually using their last income, and they'll continue doing it. And then people who support them, it's crazy. The Rolling Stone magazine, all these companies supporting them. So I'll be doing videos soon on them too because I responded to them as send them an email. They had never responded. You know. So, but it says there is clear attempts to implement functional suggested specification documents. The approach development suggests that each code base was developed by a single, likely inexperienced developer. See that? And not supported with adequate quality control practices. So they just started making things as they went along, and then they try to present it to you. But they send it actually to India too. Some of these companies, the cheapest they can find, and they'll build something, but they have no. They're using old programs to get money. So they scam into a scammer combined, I guess. So I mean, it just keeps going. The backend is not suitable for either deployment or for development as it lacks definition for database tables. Neither code base contains any unit integration. I could keep reading this stuff. It's like in the mobile application, there are numerous occurrences of hard code content instead of data being dynamically pulled from the backend system. Many links point to placeholders, content, or navigate to unexpected places. These are not acceptable development practices as they can prevent functioning use of an application or hinders future development maintenance efforts. Finally, the specification provided has significant flaws, especially regarding the lack of detail describing parts of the system that are not mobile application screens. There is insufficient information about how non-customer users will interact with the system or how these screens will look like, behave in relations to another. Oh, so much. They talk about, look at this. The comprehensive specification documents typically contain a progressive level of detail regarding functional and non-functional requirements for the system. They also specify the scope of work. So they're telling you all this stuff that I guess it should be on there, right? Let you read that for yourself a little bit. It's kind of early in the morning, guys. I'm trying to wake up. Okay, so so it's unbelievable. So, and projects include navigation diagram depicting how screens are interlinked, what happens on each screen with the back button pressed, Android and browser. So, I guess they're trying to tell you this is what they're looking at and giving the definition of what they're looking for. So now they start looking at all that to check the specifications now. And when you read it more specifically, it leaves many aspects up for interpretation and discussion. Below, we listed some key deficiencies our team identified. 1. It focused heavily on presenting the screens of the mobile application without providing annotations. It does not contain a navigation diagram. The login experience, which is a tangible aspect of the system, is presented first and covers almost 3 pages of an essentially 9-page document. The first 2 pages consist of the cover page and the table of contents. Data requirements are sparse and mixed in between screens. There are no user stories captured, so it's difficult to understand what the application needs to do. There are notes highlighted regarding screens which are not well defined. There's no cohesive data mobile. Just look at the list, man. So anyway, it just continues going. So now I wrote some of these problems I had too. I remember I'll show you my notes when I started to talk to them about requests from store owners to super admin. There's no definition for data context. I wrote in a similar way, but not in a technical that there were certain things that didn't make no sense to me. And this one here, the assumption page in the document, I asked that too. They could never answer it. What does that mean? They do because somebody else had developed it, so they just they're trying to figure it out too. And what I'm trying to say now, if you're an app developer and you build apps and you think it's so much work, you can hire a freelancer, and they bring you back to work. You should know exactly what what you're looking at, and they don't know, so they send them a whole bunch of crap that doesn't even work. Uh, these are dependencies listed in the file composer JSON. However, reviewing these outside the scope of analysis. However, despite using a framework which encourages good code organization and promotes modern development practice, dependency management, database migration, testing framework, the code base lacks any tests. So let me just highlight that. You know, so everything they did, they never tested it, and I'm pretty sure they're doing the same thing to you guys. So if you're having problems, they never did any of it. So when referring to file names, it appears that the first two files were created on October 12th. This is important right here because I created the app. We started in 2019, and we have been going on. And this guy has been getting away with this, and he's hoping that the time frame probably goes away. I mean, where I can do anything. But my objective is to stop people signing up with this company because if they're not going to pay me back the money that they owe me, why would you go to them? You're going to. There's so many people coming out of the woodworks. And when they do want to make a complaint and they join me, a lot of them have called me and said that they got threatened that he's going to sue them. So they get scared, they get nervous. I said, don't get nervous. So our team also noted that only defines the ID created updated the columns which are defaults created in any migration. But I mean, I just, like I said, I'm sharing right now, you know, all the findings we found. I told you guys I was going to do it. I was waiting for people to join me so we can do a whole together to work together. But people want to go and do it and kind of fight their own battles, And I'm like, okay, but I'm providing you all the information that you guys need. But now I decided to go ahead and just release it. And then that's what we're doing now. We're releasing the findings, So this one here, this is one of the many examples relating to poor code organization composition. So I was talking about when you develop a code, they're supposed to take really great notes in case you need to work on it later. So once they release it to you and you want to find another team to work on it, then you should be able to take that. They should have written great notes so that new developers can see what they did so they can continue going. But they did nothing. They had somebody go build it. It's almost like you know how to build a shed. You can build a small shed for your house. You have basically how to build a shed. And then you go work as a contractor to build houses. And this is exactly what's happening. It's like just because you can build a doghouse doesn't give you the opportunity to go and build a house, and that's what I looked at him. He learned a little bit about certain things, This one kind of scares a lot of people, even my developers from India, because when you start going through this, they think they're scamming money somewhere using Stripe. Okay, so we talk about Stripe later and as I continue, but this here is something that developers actually understand that it could be a scam, So application is a hybrid mobile application. This means that this is mostly a front-end web application packed inside a thin veneer of native mobile applications. Okay, so they're telling you, the definition of what's happening. So this is common and popular method to write once and run on multiple devices with its benefits and drawbacks. So they're explaining the code base, what they use and what it's for, the definition, if it's good or bad. So a lot of people do that. Most apps now are web-based application hybrid, So the initial analysis revealed the use of Ironic framework together with Apache Cordova for native API. They're telling you everything they're using. So, but now they're going into about to inspect it. Uh, review. So let's look at this one here. A review of the package. JSON file reveal a long list of dependencies, both for runtime and build time. It would appear that there is much overlap between Cordova plugins and Iconic plugins. This would indicate a rather chaotic approach to selecting tools to fulfill functional requirements such as overlap results and the potential large bundle size, which can affect performance and lead to the battery drain of the application. Okay. um, Man, there's just so much. I'm just trying to find other stuff that you guys can see. Further review reveals some connection to Facebook, which was not mentioned in the specification. C file package. You know, I guess they started doing their own thing. They're not even following the. They're not even following the BRL. So a BRM is it? So commented out code also present in many TypeScript standard development practices dictate removing dead code as it provides no value and only serves as hindrance to comprehension and collaboration. Additionally, in the case of HTML, the commented out code is still delivered to the browser and affects loads and processing time, which consequently impacts user experience. Below, we list two examples of this. So, so this is a little bit more above my grade. So talking about the JavaScript and continue. See, guys, like it just I remember one time we're having issues with the application. It kept breaking down, and I sent it to them. I didn't understand what was going on, and I kind of typed in the question before AI came out. See, maybe somebody deal with it, and all of a sudden it came back with the tokens are not something for this issue to exist. It said the tokens are not, or needs to be redo again or something. So I sent it back to him because we were looking for the problem. So I sent it and said, hey, I was reading something. They said it could be the tokens. Oh, he says, I'll check on that. I said, what? He should know that. If he was developing that, he should have known. But he doesn't even understand what a token is. That's how bad it is. There's also large numbers of images which seem to have no place in the application. They're placed in random locations. They appear to be referenced by HTML code placeholders. Moreover, it appears that the code base was redeveloped multiple times by one or more inexperienced developers over time who did not have a clear understanding of any of the frameworks used, in the applications. So, this keeps going. Look at this. Final impression. So now we know one thing. We know that they're inexperienced. That it was a deployable app. It shows you that they messed up by not having all the code base written node by node. There's so many issues, right? But this is one of the most important ones I want to share with you guys. Since there are numerous issues with this project, starting with deeply flawed and incomplete specification to chaotic, disorganized code, which is often difficult to follow and reason about. There are clues pointing to a project that was not properly scoped, an incomplete and precise project design, and a lack of technical vision and direction. The approach to development and coding style suggests that all code was developed by individuals lacking a proper skill set and experience using the framework, choosing to full extent. There's no indication that the version control was used to manage code changes. The numerous sections of commented out code are a common practice of novice developers who have neither worked on a team nor used version control. There's also evidence of code copied and pasted from other projects which predate this one. The work was likely performed by someone inexperienced. Inadequate quality control mechanisms were not instituted to ensure the applications meet the necessary development. Overall, the code base and specifications are substandard quality and do not appear to meet the intended goals, as much as the code base will provide very limited value for the customer who requested this work. More specifically, the issues outlined in this document would make the code base a liability to work on, as it is much more difficult and time consuming to unravel low quality, undocumented, and tested code. So now, this is where I get back to Sam Nexus, because I didn't know that we had all these issues. They're experienced New York developers. They have real clients, and they saw an opportunity, I believe, to take advantage of a person like me. Oh, since I don't know, they can get some of that too. Because I'm saying they should have seen all this. They should have wrote to me and said, Mario, you can't fix this app. It's not even manageable, and you can't do anything with it. They worked on they took part of the money too, which I'm going after them second, which I'm giving the opportunity of some Nexus to call me back, because they should have never worked on it, but they're coming next, so it just tells you all the, and of course this thing continues on, telling you all the stuff that this team is not, Of course, they tell you their methodology, why they do it. They just continue explaining, the results of everything. So we searched the immediate comprehensive mitigations that live deployables can take, and finally we suggested the requirement for remediation, engineering future releases. The mitigation and remediation recommendations should be scrutinized by the developers and deployment engineers. A successful mitigation and remediation is an ongoing collaborative process after we deliver our initial audit report. But our report, including any details with all our findings and solutions, are shared. We like to work with your team to find reasonable outcomes that can be addressed as soon as possible with an overly negative impact for pre-existing plans. Although the handling of these issues must be done on case-by-case basis, we always like to agree on a timeline for resolution and balance the impact on the users and needs for the projection team. But at this point in time, I am not funded no more for any more building, no more done with this app. I had to stop. We have put so much money into it because Appsketier. Now, Appsketier calls this whole thing premium going to Sam Nexus, but Sam Nexus should have never worked on it. They should have been able to see that if they're developers, But they are developers. But I believe Sam Nexus took an opportunity to make an advantage, to take an advantage of this thing. When they saw that, they go, "Oh, this guy has money. We can take it." And at the end, when I get the report, I'm like, "What?" So Sam Nexus was able to do a few things, like a little bit of the picture quality came back, but not really great. I kept saying, "What did they do?" So they actually, it's a different story with them. So I'm gonna do a video on them soon. Anyway, guys, that's it. I thought I'd share that with you. So